my name is Beck. Happy New Year. Welcome to my first to be read list of the year. I'm going to list all of the books that I'm hoping to get to this month, and then I'll see how I go because I have 2 weeks of leave and I'm hoping that I can get through a ton of books. But no doubt we'll find out. So the first book on this list is an audiobook, and they are usually pretty short audiobooks. This is the sequel to the Wayward Children's series. So I think it's called Lost in the Moment and Found. Usually the audiobooks are about 4 hours long, and these are Portal Fantasies by Sean Maguire, and they write stories about kids who go to different worlds, kind of like a Narnia scenario, and when the kids come back they can't really assimilate with real life. Basically magic is real and they are experiencing it and then ostracized for it. And so I really like the foundations of found family in here. I like the different worlds and quests they go on. I like how character driven it is. I've kind of fallen in and out of love with this series depending on which installment I'm reading. At the moment, In an Absent Dream, I think that was book 5 in the series, is my favorite, and that was kind of standalone-y, so you can pick that one up on its own and not read the rest of the series for context. But I think this next one, you need to know the series in context in order to get benefit and joy from it. And obviously I've read them all and I've enjoyed them in varying forms, so I'm looking forward to seeing where this one goes because the previous book kind of redeemed it a little bit more for me. So I hope I like this one. It comes out very, very early in January, so it's either going to be my first read of the year or I'll pick up something physically that might go over into January from December, or I'll just scrap everything I'm reading in end of December and then read something in January. I'm filming this a little bit early so that I can actually have the video edited in time, so future me will make a choice, but present me has no idea. I have pre-ordered a book though that does come out this month as well, and that is Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute, and I think it's an early January release by Talia Hibbert. It's a young adult book and I loved her Chloe Brown or Brown Sisters trilogy in 2022, one of my favorite series of the entire year, and it was romance, and I usually read fantasy, and I really like the characters in her Chloe Brown series because they have meaningful relationships. They don't have any form of miscommunication in order to make the plot toxic so that there is drama. And so I'm looking forward to trying this one out because it's a young adult version, but I don't really know any of the plot, so I'll link it below for the GOODREADS description if that's what you want to look at, because I like not knowing too much about going into a romance. Usually if I've read the author before, then I'm relying on the fact that I enjoy their writing style and their tone, so I'm probably going to enjoy the thing that they bring out next. So that is my hope for this book as well. And then the third and final new release that I'm looking forward to in January is Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo, and I have recently read Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo, and it was a reread for me. I thought I would refresh all my knowledge before the sequel came out, and ultimately I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens in the next installment because the previous book left on a massive cliffhanger and I have just been hanging out for 2 years wanting to read this next book. So the first book follows Galaxy Stern, or Alex Stern, and she can see greys, which are ghosts, and this is quite an unusual ability, and so Yale taps her on the shoulder and says, hey, do you want a scholarship, because there is a whole secret society here and all of this secret society revolves around magic and rituals, and you are here because you can see ghosts, which is quite rare, so that you can help enforce the fact that things don't go wrong. But naturally things go wrong. Also a body turns up, and so she's brought in to this secret world, and so the people who are called Town, they don't know that there's a secret society and magic existing, and Alex is not Town anymore. So it's interesting to see all the world building, to see all of these houses. The ninth house is the House of Leith, which is the overseers of all of the societies. I saw a few things coming, but in a good way. I like it when a plot kind of teases things out in a predictable way and then goes, here is a sucker punch and emotional punch. And that's what Ninth House did. And I'm really invested in not only Alex, but the side characters, and I'd really like to see what happens next. So hopefully Hachette send me Hellbent on time, but they had a delay sending me The Lost Metal. So I'm really worried about whether this will actually turn up in time. So will I read it when it comes out on the 10th of January? Probably not. But I really hope that I get to it because I really want it to arrive, but it's out of my control. So because it's out of my control about when I might get these new releases, I'm hoping for having them on time, but that doesn't always happen. I've got a few physical books that I already own on my to be read pile that I'm like, why not put it on my January TBR? And one of them is Radio Silence by Alice Oseman. And if you know my channel at all, you know that I love Heartstopper by Alice Oseman, which is the graphic novel series adapted to a Netflix show about Charlie and Nick. And this is a story that I feel is in the same world, because I think all of Alice Oseman's books are very loosely connected, but I honestly couldn't tell you much about this except that I think there is a bisexual protagonist, but I think it's about friendship and trust, and it seems like the main character's name is Frances, and then she meets Aled, and for the first time it says she's unafraid to be herself, which is really nice. I know Aled is in the Heartstopper series and is one of the side characters that are Charlie's friends, but Aled is in the graphic novels but not in the show, and I don't know if they'll be in season 2 of the show as like an amalgamated character or if they're being introduced or whatever. So I'm looking forward to trying this because I've heard excellent things, and I've got a few Alice Oseman books on my TBR that are contemporary, and I like reading contemporary around Australian summer, which is around January and February. So if you don't see this happen in January, you'll very likely see it in February, because I like reading all my contemporaries around this time. So I'm very much a mood reader, and when the sun is out and the new year is started and I'm optimistic about my to be read pile, I read contemporary. So let's hope that I get through this one. And then we have a massive campaign by Brandon Sanderson. He did 4 secret novels while we were in COVID lockdown. Yep, everyone else like me ate snacks and sat on the couch, but Sanderson wrote 4 books in secret. So I wish that I had that productivity level. And I think they're being traditionally published way later as well, but these initial versions had a massive Kickstarter campaign, and I contributed to the campaign, so it means that I'm going to get these books as they come out with their special edition covers and whatever. So one of them releases in January, but I'm not exactly sure when in January, and also because I'm on the other side of the world to America, I don't know when shipping timelines will be, but his first secret project is releasing in January, and then there's one every quarter in 2023. So I have a lot of Sanderson on my TBR this year, and I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, he's one of my favorite authors, but given that he's done a few co-written works lately and I've not really loved them, I'm a bit worried about my reaction to the 4 books that he's got coming out this year, because I'm like, will I end up enjoying them, or are they going to be on that kind of meh pile? I hope that they're not, so we'll see how that goes. Anyway, one of his projects is here this month, and I'm looking forward to trying it if it arrives, but maybe again in February or March I'll read it. Who knows? Whenever it gets here, I'll read it. And then the last book on this TBR list is Alcatraz and the Evil Librarians, which is another Brandon Sanderson book, but it's a middle grade, and I haven't read this yet. And the only other middle grade by him that I've read is The Rhythmatist, which I quite enjoyed. But this one I have seen everywhere but haven't been able to get my hands on, and it re-released in 2022. And I think it's kind of like that secret world, you know, like Percy Jackson, how there are like normal people, but then there are magical people and magic societies. I think it's kind of like that, because it says that on my 13th birthday, I, Alcatraz Smedry, yes, I got named after a prison, don't ask, received my inheritance, a bag of sand, and then I accidentally destroyed my foster parents' kitchen. It's not my fault, things just break around me, I swear. So I think there's some kind of undercurrent of magical world building going on, and then obviously there's going to be a massive like culmination and quest happening in here, I assume. I'm looking forward to giving it a try, because I usually prefer Sanderson's adult work like Mistborn and Stormlight, so I'm going to see how I feel about this. It's been on my TBR since, you know, mid to late last year, and I would very much like to read it ASAP, so that is ultimately what I want to do. But all of those new releases, The Secret Project by Sanderson and then these 2 books, are on my January reading list, and hopefully, because excitingly I started a new job in January, and I haven't really talked about it because I've wanted to keep it kind of private, but because I started a new job in January, I'm probably going to listen to more audiobooks now, because I commute all the way into the city, which I'm not super excited about doing, but at least it will get my audiobook count up. So after I finish the Wayward Children book, I'll probably pick up something else. I'm just not sure what it is yet, and I don't want to set things in place, because a to be read list every month is more like a guideline for me. I'm very much a mood reader, so if I don't have a list of books to try and aim for, I don't really read anything. So I put all of these together saying like, I'm excited about new releases, I've got stuff on my physical list as well, in the hopes that it will motivate myself to read. So let me know down below what you have planned on reading in January, because I feel like it will also be ambitious. But thank you again so much for watching this video. I'll come chat to you down below in the comments, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.